Hello everyone, welcome to another amazing day at fmtraining.tv where we talk about the wonderful and fantastic FileMaker platform. My name is Margaret. I am here with Miles Debsky from the Senior Engineering part of Richard Carlton Consulting. He also does video management and a host of other wonderful things. I'm here with James Conway from LiveCode, as well as Kevin Miller, the CEO of LiveCode. We're here basically to discuss the LiveCode and how basically to get FileMaker to work on Android. But before I cover that, real quick, we stream on 3 platforms. We stream on Discord, we stream on Twitch, and we stream on YouTube. Sorry, I was briefly distracted by Discord people typing at me. Please ask questions. Please interact with us. We are here to talk. We run these hour live streams to interact with the community and talk to you guys, so please feel free to do that. We greatly appreciate it. So, real quick, live stream training schedule again, since before I got cut off. Today we are discussing app maintenance, how to roll out updates, all that jazz. Day 7 is going to be iOS testing. Basically, why would you use LiveCode versus the SDK or FiAS, basically, or FMGO for that matter. So we're going to be discussing that. Wednesday is going to be answering questions about the Mac runtime, so that'll be fun. Day 9 will be customer testimonials and the future of LiveCode, or where they're heading. And then day 10 will be an open Q&A. And then Monday of next week, Nick is back to discuss Nick's FileMaker tips and tricks. So, we'll be hearing more about that eventually. Real quick, if you'd like to support the channel, we do run 1 hour. We do these for free, but people behind the scenes do need to get paid, so you can feel free to subscribe to our FileMaker annual training subscription. It is 100 plus hours of video content where we discuss pretty much everything about the FileMaker platform, server, Go, WebDirect. Pick it, we discuss it. It's in like 10 to 20 minute bite-sized segments, much easier to deal with than perhaps like long, hour-long community sessions. So if that's up your jam, please feel free to do that. We greatly appreciate it. Miles, before we start off today's discussion, do you want to do the recap for what we have discussed the past 5 days since we are at day 6?
Yeah, in case anyone is just randomly jumping in today, we are in the middle of this big 10-day thing with LiveCode for FM. So we started last Monday. It was a day 1. We had Kevin here, who he's also here today, just basically explaining what LiveCode for FM is. We talked about licensing and just a lot of open Q&A. So that's a really good session to go back and watch just to kind of get the base level of what it is, what we're doing. Day 2, we started just in FileMaker building a simple app. So we built a simple app. And then we actually talked a little bit about like a sync just overview, what we're going to do with it. Day 3, we actually got LCFM native. We talked about how to set up your machine basically. So do you need Xcode? Do you need Android Studio? Things like that, specs you should have. We actually compiled for a Mac application, just a runtime running on the Mac. Day 4 was talking all about sync, kind of what we did for our simple app, and then additional kinds of syncs you could do back and forth, just pushing, that kind of thing. And then this last Friday, day 5, we actually talked about the Google Play Store. It was a lot of stepping through what you'd actually need to do to test, and then also, or to submit to testers, and then also to actually submit for production. So we actually submitted our app to the Play Store on Friday, and then we're back here today to check out that app. I think our viewers will be able to actually touch it, and then we're going to look at pushing out updates and doing more on that. Kevin, do you have anything to add off the top, or if not, then I'm just going to hand it to James.
I think that was a pretty good summary. I just wanted to answer a question that we got at the end of last week. Somebody wrote into you guys and asked a couple of things, actually. They said, I'd like to ask about licensing to LiveCode. For me and my company as FileMaker developers, we create different solutions for different needs. So for example, we have a customer with a small solution with 5 clients, and another with 10 clients, and another who doesn't need syncing. Is there any way to purchase a royalty-free version or a developer version of LiveCode for FM for different solutions, or do we have to pay for individual needs? So in terms of the developer version, the thing I would say there is that when you purchase a initial 5-pack, you are very free to do anything with those 5 users that you want. So they could all be used with different clients. You can use them and reuse them. You can go and have concurrent use, or you can have named users. It's all incredibly flexible. So in terms of being able to develop with that and try that out in different scenarios and with different clients, that's all there out of the box. In terms of a royalty-free version, or a version that covers everything, we don't do that. We do. You do need to purchase a version that covers the individual need of each specific client. But I will say, if there's something on the pricing that you need that we don't do, we're very keen. Get in touch, and if we need to do some sort of deal, we'll certainly look at it. So I feel absolutely free to contact us on that. The other question that was asked was, is it possible to have different data API accounts for different app configurations? So you're mentioning a different subscriber model with individual subscribers and passing over data into different places. Absolutely it is. In the latest build, there is the ability to set both the FileMaker server that you connect to, so you can change that address at runtime when it's running, and you can change the solution name on the server. So we see people use that, for example, in the login screen. You go and connect to a REST API server somewhere that has details of a particular set of clients. It looks up the client during the login process, returns the server address for that particular client, and then you use the script step to choose that particular server or that particular solution name. So that is something that we do allow. So hopefully that answers those two questions.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Kevin. I appreciate it. And CJ Berlin says thank you for passing on the questions. So I think that answers that pretty neatly. Since we've done the recap, we've grabbed last week's questions. I'm going to turn it over to you, James. So real quick, I know you work for LiveCode, but what do you do for LiveCode specifically? What are you here to talk about?
So I'm a software developer for LiveCode, and for the past almost 2 years now, I've been working on LiveCode for FileMaker project. And yeah, that's basically what I've been working on. So I'm here today to explain how we can update the Android app on the Android store. So I'll just share my screen and we can get started. Okay, so on the Play Store, which you can find if you just Google the Google Play Console, yes, on Friday, Panos uploaded the app, the RCC data collector test app, and as you can see, it's still in review at the moment. And normally it takes about 3 or 4 days, so obviously we've not left enough time. So this app is still in review, but we did predict that might be the case. So we did upload a test app. So this is the one we're going to be updating today. You can see it's on the store if you search for RCC Data Collector on the Google Play Store. You can see it shows here. So that app is live on the store right now. So if you want to install it on your device, it's a good way to see LiveCode for FileMaker app in action. So I don't know if Margaret, if you can share that link that I shared. People can download that app for themselves.
Yes, just pass that around all the chats, all 3 of them, so they should be able to download and test it themselves.
Yeah, I would recommend downloading that because you can see how well LiveCode for FileMaker apps run. Very similar to running it through FileMaker, so I would recommend doing that. So today, what we're going to be doing is I'm going to be showing you how you can update this app on the store. So I guess that leads into the question of why would you want to update the app in the store. So I've got here. This is a good kind of this kind of shows why you might want to update an app. So you can see the versioning numbers which you might be used to. So you've got 3 numbers here, and as you can see, the 3rd number on the end, normally you want to update that if you're going to make a bug fix. So that may be one reason why you want to update your app. If you find out maybe you've written a script slightly incorrectly and it doesn't have the intended functionality, you may want to make a fix and update that. So if you were going to do that, you would update this number on the end, and you would increment that. The number in the middle is normally if you have a minor functionality change, so something that's not going to affect the usability of the app. If you make a more major change and it means that the app isn't really backwards compatible, then you want to be making a major change. This is going to mean that this is normally when you make a sort of a big change to your app, you want to be updating here. So that's kind of the different things you might want to, the different reasons as to why you might want to update your app. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make an update to the original app, and it's just going to be a minor version change, so nothing too drastic. And then I can show you how you would go about updating on the Play Store. So if we open FileMaker Pro and we want to open the original solution, if you're making any changes, if you want to make any changes, this is all done in FileMaker. LiveCode for FileMaker is just a compiler. It will just take all the data and compile it. So we want to be making the change here. I'm just going to make a pretty basic change, and there's nothing too massive about it. Let's say we decided we wanted to rebrand a little and change the color of this part up here. So let's say we're going red. We can change this, and let's say we're happy with that. All we need to do is we close FileMaker, open up LiveCode for FM, and this is the original project for the original app which was uploaded. So all we need to do is we click Edit, and when we click Continue, this will re-import any data from the original solution. So this will take maybe 30 to 40 seconds, and it will import any all the information about layouts and tables, and from there we can compile the new app.
One thing we are working on is the ability for the compiler to detect only the things that have changed, so that you don't have to do a full recompile. And that's something that's important, particularly for large solutions. This is quite a small solution. If it's a big solution or a solution with a lot of data, then it just helps from a workflow perspective. So that is something that's coming. Those of you that have seen this project for a while may remember the original kind of speed of compiling, and it is a lot faster. The process has been hugely streamlined, but we are still working on it, and we can make it even faster still in the future.
Yeah, so that was quite quick. As Kevin says, larger solutions can take a little longer, but that's all the new, that's been re-imported. And this is what's good about LiveCode for FileMaker is when you do make changes, we have all these settings which will carry over from your original project. So as you can see, we have the layouts which we included in the original solution. We left out the server layouts because they're not necessary. So we can just continue here. And again, for the tables, it remembers the settings from the original project. And again, we can see that the solution is still 100% feature complete. If there was anything that wasn't feature complete, then you will be able to find out, and you can get more details. If you save your report, you can look on our website as well about find out about information about what's implemented. You'll see here that there is some script steps which are implemented with differences. A lot of the time, if it's implemented with differences, it's normally because it doesn't really make sense for us to copy the exact FileMaker functionality of these scripts. So we can just continue here. Again, it's remembered the settings from the original app. So we can just continue here. And again, we just stick with these settings for sync. We'll need to sync this table. We don't need to regenerate the interface file. It's already been generated and nothing's changed. So that would only be regenerated if the interface, or sorry, if the database has changed, if you add new tables or new fields. So this should all already be done. So we can just continue here as well.
If you add or add or change any relationships, does that need a new interface, or it's just new?
Yes, I believe it would. I could be wrong on that, but I think you would need to.
I think it does. Yeah, there's any change to the tables or the relationships, because the interface file needs to be a full representation of all of the tables as they are. Yeah.
So this is now the updated app. So what's good about LiveCode for FileMaker is we can test on Mac instead of having to plug in a device. If something works on the Mac app from the LiveCode for FileMaker, it will normally work on the Android device. So I'm just going to create a new profile here, a new Mac one, and then we can test the new app. So click that. Only takes a few seconds. And we can see the app has loaded. And as you can see, we've now got the red background. So we've successfully taken the solution, run it back through LiveCode for FileMaker, and created an updated app. So what we need next is we need the the Android application bundle to upload to the Play console. So if we go to our Android development profile, and if you want, you can test it on a device before you do anything with it. Since we tested on Mac, it was a small change, so I'm happy with how it is. So we want to submit to a store. And when we submit to a store, we need to make sure that we use the same app ID as we originally used. Otherwise, the Play console won't be happy. So this is the app ID here. And we can continue. And as was explained previously, we can generate an APK, which is good if you want to send the file to testers. They can install that straight onto their device without having to go through the Play Store. But in this case, we're going to be uploading it to the Play Store, so we need an Android app bundle. So we'll click that. So this will take about 30 to 40 seconds. So if there's any questions or anything that I missed, then that would be a good time.
Looking, we had a couple people saying that they've downloaded it.
Oh, is it working okay? Let us know.
Yeah, okay. One person said they got the app to download to their phone. They can't seem to get a picture into the file. It lets them take a picture, but doesn't show the picture.
Oh, got the app here. Let me try it.
All right.
Yeah, mine seems to be okay. I did type in a title for the record. I pressed new, I typed in a title for the record, and then I created it. I don't know if any of those steps are, maybe there's one of those is optional, or maybe you have to do them all.
Yeah, keep us updated with how that's going, because we have tested the app and it should run fine. So there may be a step that's missing there. So yeah, so that's the new Android app bundle created. So we can open it in Finder. So this is it here. So this is what we want to upload to the console. So if we go back to the app which we want to update, just click on that. And there's a few options. We can upload our new Android app bundle or our new update to the testing track. That's quite good if you have a group of people who are on your test program and you might want to do some beta testing before you fully launch the app. In our case, there's not a lot. We've just changed the color of part of the layout. So in this case, we don't really need to do that. But that is a good option if you've made a big change. So in this case, we're just going to create a new release on the production track. And we're going to drop the Android application bundle here. Now, I've just remembered something. We're going to run into an issue here. I'm going to go back and explain that. This is uploading at the moment. It's going to come up with an error because we need to update the version number of the Android app. So if we go back, this is our Android deployment profile. If we click Edit Deployment Profile, we have here our build number and version number. Now, I've already changed these actually, but the build number needs to be incremented by 1, or it doesn't need to be incremented by 1, but it needs to be incremented every time you make a new build. If you upload an Android app bundle to the Play console with this with a build number you've already used, then you will get an error and it will complain. With the version number, as I explained earlier, you've got the major patch, you've got a minor patch, and you've got bug fixes. So in this case, I'm going to say it's a minor patch. So we're going to do 1.1.0, and that's all good for now. So that would be the settings we'd want.
Do you need to update the build number as well?
Well, I've actually already updated these previously. So actually, the Android app bundle the Android app bundle has been accepted.
Okay, you've already done it. You just, cool.
I forgot that step. So you want to update these before you update or before you create the Android app bundle. Another thing that I'm going to mention here is this option here, clear application data. So you've got a few options here. You've got always. So what this would do is it would clear all local data anytime an app is reopened. Why would you want to use?
You mean updated?
No, it's actually every time the app is closed and reopened.
Oh right, okay.
It will.
Okay.
It will clear the local data. This is mainly used if you're going to be testing. I probably wouldn't use that option for an actual Android app that's been uploaded. Never just means that the local data will always stay on the device. And then you've got build number change and version number change. So that's if a user was to update their app and the build number is changed, that would clear their local data. Now this is good if you don't want any stale data on the device when you make an update. That's always it's always handy to have that, because any stale data will be cleared from the device when you make changes to the server app. It's a good idea to have a kind of fresh app with no local data. This is normally useful when you're syncing, though. You'd want to do this with a syncing app. What would happen is it would clear the local data, and when it syncs on startup, it would pull back down all the data from the server instead of using the stale data, which is locally on the device. So that's your kind of options there for clearing application data. I had mine set for on build number change. So if you were to update your app, you'll notice that the local data has been cleared. And if you were to pull data down from the server, you will get that data back. So that's the options you've got there for that.
Quite often you wouldn't want to remove local data there if you've got an app that has all the data stored locally.
Yes, it's really only if you've got a syncing app that you would want to clear local data.
Sure. Got it.
Yeah, I mean, you can play about with that. It's mainly recommended if you've got an app that syncs and is always pushing the data up to the server. It allows you to kind of clear any local data. So if you've got a lot of data on the phone, then you may want to get rid of that. And as I say, yes, stale data as well. It's good to get rid of that. So that's your options there. So we'll go back to the Play console. So the Android app bundle was accepted, or at least initially accepted. It still needs to be reviewed fully. If we scroll down, we get a release name. This is automatically generated. So it uses the build number and the version number. As for the release notes, we can just copy from a previous release because nothing's really changed. So let's copy from this. So built with LiveCode for FM. That's all we need to do. We can save this and review. So there's 3 warnings, but these are just warnings. They're not going to be a big issue. You can see the supported devices, and you can see the app bundle there. So this is a good option here as staged rollout. This is quite useful if you had a lot of users. You can roll it out to a percentage of your users. This is good if you want to, test your update with your users and see if they like the update or not. If you roll down. When you go, Kevin.
I guess that might also be useful if you want to ensure that your server doesn't get overloaded. So if you're set the new version to remove device data and you want it to do a fresh sync and you've got a large user base, it might be that you want to stage it.
Exactly, yeah, that's a good point. So yeah, there is a few reasons why you might want to stage your rollout. But yeah, I guess if you don't want your server overloaded, you don't want everyone updating at the same time. So yeah, that's a good point. So at the moment, we're just going to go for 100%. We've only got 2 active devices, so it's not going to matter.
Might not overload anything.
Okay. So we'll click Start, roll out to production, and roll out. And that is the update submitted. So what needs to happen now is it will be reviewed by Google again, just like the original app was reviewed. However, it normally will be reviewed a little bit quicker, normally between 1 and 2 days. So we'll leave that there. So another thing I want to explain is if you were to make a major change, what you would want to do in this case. So for example, if you were to make a change to the database and delete, if you were to restructure your database and have tables deleted and fields deleted, then your solution on the server is not going to be compatible with people who have not updated their app yet. So in this case, you want to basically force the users to either update or not allow them to use the old version of the app. So I'm just going to go through a way of how you could do that. So I'm just going to create a new solution just to show how you would check the user's version of their app, and then show them a dialog if the app needs to be updated. So we'll create a blank solution. And we'll name it check app. Check app compatibility. So we'll leave all of these fields here because these are good for syncing. So we're going to have a field called version. So this is going to be the local, this is going to be stored on the local app. This is going to be the current version number. And then we're going to have a minimum supported version. And this is going to be a number that's stored on the server. So this would be a number that we can update. And we can update on the server, and if there's any apps which don't meet this minimum supported version, then we can show the dialog. So I'm just going to create another table called users. So this might have this table might have, you know, information about users or whatever. So we're going to allocate that. So we've got the version and the minimum supported version, and we're going to make a script which checks the app to see if it's compatible or not. So update required. So we're going to have an update required script, which is going to be run on the server, and this is going to compare the application's version against the minimum supported version. And we're also going to have a local script that's run locally called check for updates. So in the check for updates, we're going to perform a script on the server. We're going to perform the update required, and this will come back and tell us whether we need to update or not. For the parameter, we're going to pass in the current version of the application. This is going to be hard-coded, so this field would be, before you release the app, you would enter the version number of the app, and that would go out to your customers, and that would be a hard-coded value in their local app. So when we perform the script, we're passing in the current version. So we're just going to exit script. I'm going to do get script parameter is less than the minimum supported version. So what this is doing is performing this script. It's passing in the current version, and on the server we are comparing the current version of the app against our minimum supported version, which we can change on the server. So going to do this for testing purposes. I'm going to show the script result. And if result, so if the result is true, if an update is required, I'm going to show dialog to the user. And I'm going to exit application so they can't continue. We'll save that. And it should be us with the scripts. So we can close that and make a button which can check for updates. So this is something, this script you might want to run on, you might want to have it as on first window open. You might want to check for updates. I'm not going to do that for now, just in case something goes wrong. It's a bit annoying because you can't get into the app. So let's say this version of this local app is 1. I'm just going to upload this to the host. So this needs to be on a server in order to call that script step. Fine. So this is a good thing to do if, as I say, if you make a big change to your app and it kind of breaks backward compatibility, then you don't want the user to be using an old app, and when they try to sync, you know, it causes kind of a strange outcome. If you're just adding fields or tables, then things should be fine. But if you were, say, to delete a table and an old app tries to push to that table, then there's going to be issues. So this is where this comes in handy. So this is now on a server. So let's say the minimum supported version is 1. If we click check for updates, we get a response of 0, which means that we don't need to do an update. If I was to change this minimum supported version to 2, this app was version 1, and we click check for updates, we get a 1 returned, and please update your app, and then when we click OK, it will close the app. So that's how you can prevent people using an old version of the app which isn't supported. So we'll go back here, and yeah, I'm just going to make this app in LiveCode for FileMaker just to show exactly how this would work. It's quite good to run through the compilation of an app in FileMaker and LiveCode for FileMaker as well. So the regular start, and we want this. Yeah, and this will just import the solution data. What this does is it takes the database design reports and we use those to get information about layouts, tables, relationships, things of that sort. And with that, we can basically recreate this app in our own runtime. Okay, so again, this is just going through how LiveCode for FileMaker works. We're just going to add all the layouts. So this is I've done this as a basic app, but if you wanted to implement this into a more complex app, it's kind of just the same idea. You just want to perform the script on server that compares the app's local version, which is hard coded, against the server's minimum supported version. So we're going to use all the tables. And what's good about this is it means you can change that value on the server at any time. So we'll say, yes, it needs to synchronize and we want the data. We'll say we want to sync the users table. And here it's just going to generate a data API interface. This is how we communicate with the file on the server. So I guess it's quite good that I'm going through this again. It just solidifies how you would go about doing this. Okay, so this is the interface finished. So we just need to follow these few instructions here, which should have, I think William's already gone through these, but it's good to go through them again. So we want to make sure that the solution is on the server, which it is. We need to check the password is there. We need to make sure that we have the permissions for the FileMaker data API. So that's important. So we've got that there. We can close that. We want to open up the interface file and make sure that the password matches the password of the original solution. And we can upload that to the same server as the original solution. We want to authorize it to access the original server solution. And that should be everything done. We've already switched on the data API on the server. Okay, so that should be that.
You need to enter the server address.
Yeah. Server address. I'm going to say no to verify the SSL certificate. That's just because I'm using a local server on my device. So it's not necessary for testing. And just an issue here. Hang on. Can you still see my screen okay, yeah?
Yep, you are totally good. So,
Okay.
just need to shuffle this off real quick.
Is it gone now?
Yep, now you're good.
Hang on. Okay, I'm going to have to close this, sorry. There's an issue with using dual monitors, which I just found out just before I started streaming here. We can go back to this. Hopefully this will be okay. Go back to data options. Sorry about this. Continue. Um,
Just to return.
Return. There we go. That's
Yeah.
it. There's a dialogue,
So
and because of
the
that,
dialogue's gone off screen. Yeah, is it?
yeah, that's what it is. Right. Yeah. So we're going to say no to the certificate, because it's on a local device. But I would recommend you sort out an SSL certificate. Okay. So again, what's good about LiveCode for FileMaker is we can test on Mac. If, for example, if you have to set up an Android device, it can take a little bit longer. So I'm just going to test the macOS app and hope that I've not missed any steps. Okay, looks good. Okay, so you can see the version on this app is version 1. I probably wouldn't have left this field on the local app. You obviously don't want to allow the user to change these values. But as a developer, if I was to go onto the that's the wrong one. I was to go onto the server solution, and I was to, let's say this minimum supported version is 1 on the server. If I click check for updates here, I get a response of 0, which basically means no, there's no updates. If I'm to then change the minimum supported version, suppose I make an update to the app and version 1 is no longer going to be compatible, change that to 2, and when we click check for updates here, we get a result of 1, and we can show a dialog, please update your app, and when the user continues, it closes the app. So if you do that on startup, if you run that script on startup, that will stop any sort of old versions of the app trying to sync with a server which isn't compatible. So that's one thing to definitely be careful of when you're updating apps. I think that covers most of the update process for Android apps. So yeah, I think that's everything. So if there's any questions that I'm happy to answer just now.
I don't think we've gotten any new ones. Do you see any new ones, Miles?
I don't. So yeah, I guess people play with those, and then we've submitted that one change with the red or orange bar, and that should get approved in the next day or two. And then those people that have downloaded today will get a notification. Is that how that would work?
Yeah, so depending on how their phone's set up, yeah, that's one thing I actually mentioned. If you have automatic updates, then it will automatically update that app. If not, if you go to your Play Store, there's a section which tells you which apps have updates available. So
I think a lot of the newer Android devices have got automatic updates turned on by default. Certainly my device does. I've never thought about an update ever since I get it. The apps just quietly update themselves in the background. So it should just magically appear if you have that turned on. Obviously, if you don't, then it'll be whenever you do an update, and your update section will tell you that there's a new version available.
That's where the solution that I showed at the end, that's where that can come into play quite handy. If you don't want to if you want to basically force users to update, you can use that perform script on server, and that will basically force them to update their app. But yeah, a lot will be updated automatically.
Cool. In that case, I think we're good. Thank you. I just got a question from David. So we're going to do that real quick before I round us out and let you free. Let's say I create a standalone Android app and I want to update with a text file in Google Drive. So when I go to the desktop version, it gets synced. Is that possible?
So you want to incorporate Google Drive into your Android app. The answer to that is that you would use FileMaker to wrap a web viewer component which contains your Google Drive document, and then you would make a change Google Drive would handle all the syncing. If I understand that that question correctly, then I think that's how you would do that.
Okay, he said yes. So, and then we're gonna let him follow up. How do you set password access to an app? From Woody DK.
I'm not 100% sure on the question, but you can have a login script step. If you create a splash screen layout, then you could use a login script step, and that would password protect the app.
Quite often what we see is that people have a little server where there's a REST API, and they just have a database that just contains usernames and passwords, and you just use that through a script step or through a URL based command to do a password based check at the startup. It's quite straightforward, really. Just create a login layout in FileMaker and hook that up to either your server database or it can be any other, be a different server. If your app's large and has to scale, then you quite often have a separate licensing server that tells the solution which FileMaker server to use, and also obviously allows the user to log in or not.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, so I think we're good for today then. Hope that answers all you guys' questions. Thank you very much for showing this off. This is awesome as always. It's lovely to have you on, both James and Kevin. And thank you, of course, Miles, for the assistance. With that then.
Thank you very much.
Y'all have a lovely evening, and we will catch you tomorrow on Tuesday.
Wonderful. Thank you then.
Just stepped up the whole way. Calm, cool, collected the quarterback. Great read, good patience. More importantly, great job up front protecting this quarterback to give you a chance. And that's all you can ask for.
Trying to rally down 10. 9:25 to go here in the fourth. Short motion by Amendola from the left. Brady takes the shotgun snap. Stands in, throws it left for Amendola. Reaches up and snacks a high throw and lands inside the 10. Rolling to the 9. Ball slightly behind him, but Danny makes the grab.